You always hear that Fox bodies are light, but is that the truth? Stick around, let's find out. Okay, so we finally ordered some scales so we could kind of figure out what our percentages are, front to rear, etc., etc. But you also always hear that these cars are light. Now, let's talk about what this car is and isn't before we put it on the scales. So, this thing is an all-factory steel, all-factory glass car. It does still have the factory dash in it, factory carpet, center console, and all of that. We do have the back seats out of it. We still use the factory fuel tank. Has subframe connectors, a bunch of added rear suspension components. It does have a tube front end, and this is an iron block 5.3 with a 4L80 in it. So we have done the tube front end. We've put some front lower control arms in it to try to get some weight out of the nose. But other than that, that's about it. So the AC stuff we have removed out of the dash to make room for the 850 cage. So the dash will be a little bit lighter. The car still has all the sound deadening in it, and obviously has Kirky seats in it. So those are going to be some weight savings there. So let's go ahead and get this jacked up and see what this Mustang weighs. Okay, we are back in the garage. We got a couple projects going on today. It's been a while since we've uploaded, but that's because we've not had anything really new to offer. We've been trying some stuff on the suspension with mixed results. We got with Viking. They gave me a plan of attack to try on the rear of this car to where we can get after it in the 60 foot. Unfortunately, they gave me that plan, and now winter has set in. It took all of 4 days for us to go from 70 degrees to 30 and snowing. So hopefully we'll get a couple warm days to go to the track and try that. We did buy a set of scales, and I have scaled this car since then. But we're going to go ahead and rescale it right now and show you the numbers. She's fat, boys. She's real fat. So this winter, instead of putting money anywhere else, all we're going to do is try to lose some weight. So one of the things that we did is we ordered a hood from Single Source Composites. My wife has been on me about putting a fiberglass hood on this car for so long, and I have been resistant. And you know what? Screw it. We need to get some weight out of the nose of this car. The one big upgrade that we're doing, anybody who's drove this car, my brother, Scotty, anybody, the brakes suck on this car.
Terrible.
So we got the Cobra brakes up front, but we got skinny tires. And on the back, we got stalkers. You can see where this creates
Tar up for the street.
a little,
when you're doing 150.
yeah, gets a little sketchy. So, I ain't gonna lie, it hurt to order them, but we're going all TBM. So we're going with their dual piston calipers on the front, the drag race ones. So everything up here is super light. And we got their F3 4 piston for the rear, made for the C-clip eliminators. So we're going to get this thing jacked up. We'll get the scales under it. We'll weigh it, and then we'll put it up on stands, and then we're going to put some brakes on. All right, so this is without me in the car. So she is 3108, and we are 57% on the nose and 43% on the rear. So the hope here is by taking the heavy brakes off front, putting lightweight ones on, and then switching to those F3 calipers that we shift this just a little bit. So we're going to jack this thing up, get some brakes on, and then we'll look at these again. All right, so we're going to show you assembling one side of the fronts on these. Don't worry about all this paint on my hands. It's cool. So these rotors have a notch side and a flat side. Depending on who your spindles were made from, will depend on which side of that you're going to use. We did have to space ours. I'm going to show you how I got that measurement, but we know that these notches being up on ours is the way we need to do it. This kit is for the 94 and up cars because my car has SN95 spindles on it. I think they're from a 96. So I'm not sure if this is different on the actual Fox body one. But yeah, we're going to put our bolts with some washers in it, some Loctite, get these down, and then we'll show you some spacing. Okay, so we're to the part now where we got to check our caliper to rotor spacing, and as you can see, we're a little tight to the back compared to the front. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to use some feeler gauges. Let me zoom out just a touch here. We're going to use some feeler gauges. So I've already got these to fit, and we've added these all up, and this fits in this front gap in between the rotor and the caliper. And this equals 90 thousandths. Now, the back spacing is this single one that is 24 thousandths. Slides in there perfect. So now we're gonna have our buddy Scotty pull up his calculator here. And we're gonna do 0.09 minus 0.024. And that leaves us with 66 thousandths. So we only actually need to move this half of that distance. So what we're gonna do is, in our kit they include shims. So we know we need to shim the caliper over 33 thousandths. And so we're just gonna go through our shim stack here, use our calipers, and do whatever we gotta do to get 33 thousandths. We'll put those in, and then we'll recheck our spacing. All right, so we have added our 33 thousandths shim between the caliper bracket and the caliper. And as you can see, our spacing is now perfectly even. So we're ready to put the brake pads in. We've got everything torqued, and then it'll be time to move on to the rear. So we get to pull the axles out of the rear to do it because we have the C-clip eliminators on. So, yep, let's get some rear wheels off and get that done. Okay, real quick, there's been a lot of weight comparisons on the front. We know we're losing a lot of weight there, but I've never seen anybody really do the rears. So the caliper is still on the car, and we just weighed the caliper bracket with the pads, the mounting bracket, and this rotor, and it was 15 pounds. So remember, that doesn't include the caliper. The entire TBM setup, including the rotor and the caliper, weighs 12. So at the minimum, we're dropping 3 pounds plus whatever the caliper weighs off the rear too. So a 4-piston caliper versus what are those single piston calipers on the rear, and we're losing weight. Shoo, TBM, nice job. So you know how stuff snowballs? I don't think these are supposed to be crooked. We're gonna hammer this axle out and see if the axle's twisted as well. Yeehaw! All right, so we've got the TBMs on. We decided on the rear that the axles were okay. It's just the studs. So we're just gonna replace the studs. It's that, or you replace the spool and everything, and that's just not in the budget. So we did take the hood off in preparation for getting our fiberglass hood. So it weighs 13 pounds. That's the only thing that's not accounted for here. But $29.91 just from doing the brakes and taking the hood off. So we were $31.08 before, so that is well over 100 pounds off the car. Not only that, but we did help our front rear percentage a little bit. That got us to 55.7 on the nose. So, hey, every little bit counts. So, yeah, I am A-okay with this right here. So, I think that that's going to do it for this. We are getting ready to take it off, and we've got this awesome titanium exhaust here to go on. Oh, sorry guys, don't get motion sick on me. This little girl right here is my buddy Scotty's car. It's a new Edge that is getting full carbon bodied. So we're gonna put some titanium in this deal. And yeah, but this thing's gonna be really sick when we're done with it too.